Hello to whoever is already there. Welcome to the stream for the early birds. I hope the stream is okay. I'm just loading it on YouTube, waiting for it to arrive. Let me know if there's any trouble. Okay, I see it. Let's see. Let me know in the chat who's there. Welcome to the stream. Sweet. Rightio. Oh dear, I'm tired. But we've got to work. We have some stuff to do. We've got to go ahead and do it. I need to find my cable for soldering iron. Bear with me a second. Oh, here it is. On the floor. Because I'm using the power supply for the light that's up there. Should be fine with this. 4 people. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. This is not going to be as exciting as beers with bot grinder, but hey, gonna have some whiskey with Ken. Let me just post this off to a couple more people. See if some more people show up. Hello RJC, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you there. Yeah, so today we're gonna just be going on a bit of a fix-a-thon. Got some stuff to test, some drones to clean up, and a drone to prepare for sale. Yeah, just hang out, answer some questions. Oh, nice, Qingdao. Oh yeah, I haven't bought anything from Banggood for almost a year, so not going to affect me. With the pound being so weak at the moment, Banggood prices aren't really that attractive. So I've decided to support all the local shops in the UK and just buy locally. I've got a couple of local people that are in the FPV scene that have online shops. I use them the most, and then some of the bigger retailers online. But all UK based. Don't have to wait, and I have customer support if I need it, which is great. Hey, Bruiser, welcome to the stream, buddy. Nice to see you. Let's not talk about that video, okay? And that's it. Like I said, I'm just going to do some repairs and hang out a little bit, answer some questions if you have any. Nothing special. It's very winged, i.e. I'm going to wing it. I don't have anything sort of prepared except the stuff that I'm going to do. So I've got 4 VTXs I need to test. I've got this camera that I want to test a new lens on. This lens exploded internally, which was kind of weird. I don't know how that happened, but the front is okay. But the rear is snapped. The lens inside is like destroyed. Maybe I can get it apart to show you, but I'm not really too fussed. So I have another lens I want to try on this in a box somewhere over there. I'll get it in a moment. What else do I have to fix? I got a LiPo connector I want to change. This one's pretty chewed up. And yeah, hopefully we can get this off and replace it with a new one, which is over here. And I'm going to prepare this quad for sale. This is my 6-inch, which I had sold to someone, but they did not like it. It's too much of a cruiser, not much of a high performance drone, so he gave it back. So I'm going to sell it again. So I just have to button up some stuff. There's some screws missing that and the stack's loose. Kind of, yeah. But we'll fix that later on in due course. What's the frame we're working on? That frame there, this one here, the 6-inch. This is the GEP RC Mark II. So it's a couple of years old already. A super cool frame. The only downside is it's got really brittle carbon, so if you smack anything with your arms, the arms snap straight off. But other than that, it flies really good. And I loved it when I had it on. I had it on a different set of components. It was more performance oriented, but it was an amp sucker. This thing in its heyday could pull 190 amps out of your batteries easy. Now those components are on this quad, the Superfly V2, which I have. This is running 35 amp ESCs with 2307, 2450 kV motors. And this is an absolute screamer now. So yeah, this little frame here that was in the beginning of the video is a 3D print of my prototype frame from back in the day. A couple of years ago I designed this and 3D printed it just to see how it looked. This was about 2 months after Stinger Swarm launched the Stinger frame, and as you can see, the arms he put on his frame ended up being identical to these, despite me having designed them first, which is a bit of a shame. So I've since redesigned the whole thing from scratch, testing purposes, and then we'll take it from there. So yeah, no publicity is bad publicity. Oh, well, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm a bit skeptical about the whole thing, Bruiser. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. I don't think it's warranted right now. For that, we're just going to carrying on, and we're going to go there as planned in a couple of weeks, and whatever happens, happens, and we will have our chance to explain ourselves properly to whoever arrives in a position of authority. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding going on and a lot of misconception that needs to be cleared up. That's all I have to say on that, okay? Let me know if there's any issues with the stream and with the audio, please. Yes, you're over here. I keep forgetting that my face is in the corner of the video. Right. I'm going to fire up my soldering iron and start my little odyssey. I'm not going to do too much faffing about. So first thing I want to do is test this camera. Test the VTX, and I'll end up obviously testing the camera at the same time. I'll go get the lens for it. I've already got my goggles over there prepared. So it's a new cable. The first thing you do is cut the new cable, as we always do. Yay! Destroying new stuff. I love it. So from here, get rid of all the stuff we don't need. Do all 4 cables at the same time. Yep, today was pretty much a tech support day online. Helped quite a few people in the last couple of days to get their stuff in the air. The last one was just an hour ago. A gentleman called Mr. Springer, who spent the last 2 days trying to correct a mistake he made by turning UART 1 off in Betaflight, and then he discovered he couldn't connect to it anymore. He spent the whole of the day unsuccessfully trying to flash a new firmware on there. So I helped him out just before dinner, and he is probably going to be out flying tomorrow, which is fantastic. I'm just going to disconnect my microphone. Noise alert. I've got to go get the lens. I think this is the correct lens. Fox here, 1.8, 125, 5.5. That is indeed the correct lens. The ring is not the correct ring though. This is a Foxier Monster, I believe V2, and they come with an aluminium case, an aluminium lens thread, and an aluminium lens ring, which is solid. They're much harder to tighten the ring because this is like a lock nut, but it's much harder to tighten the lock nut against the camera to keep the lens from coming out of focus than the plastic ring. Plastic ring, as it's more flexible, it locks easier. With the aluminium one, you have to use a pair of pliers to guarantee that it locks in place and doesn't come undone. When it does come undone, since everything can really slide pretty easily with the vibrations of the quad, it'll go out of focus in about 5 seconds, which can be pretty dangerous. So for testing purposes, I'll just do it by hand. This lens is pretty beaten up, and it's got, I think, a chunk missing out of the front of it. But hey, such is life. Carry on. I need to go get some. Thanks for flagging those Fat Shark HDOs for me yesterday. Remind me what goggles you're using. I am using the FlySight Falcon FG02 with the Pro 58 module, and I have purchased a spare set which is sitting in the cupboard, which I may be able to move on if the price is right. They work fantastic. Yeah, bit of a sales plug there. Sucker like that. No, I bought them as spares because I really do love them. Out of all of the goggles I've tried, Fat Sharks, Homeways, Sky Zones, everything you can imagine, they are by far what fit up better on my face and adjust to my eyes the best. So since they don't make them anymore, with fear of not being able to get replacement parts, I bought a second set and put them in the cupboard. Yeah, I'm crazy like that. So I'm gonna tin. I haven't used the soldering iron for a few days, so it's all, I don't know if you can tell, but it is completely off. Do, 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 do. Yes. 4 viewers. Need more viewers. If you guys can spam the channels on my behalf, I'd appreciate it, because I'm busy. I don't usually do streams, so I'm not expecting a lot of people to come around. But hey, if you don't do anything, nobody will ever come around, will they? Let's get the show on the road. These cables aren't tinning. Greasy fingers. That's cool. Where are they? Damn it. There they are. Just gonna trim these down a bit so that I can put them on the VTX. Ground. That's funny. I would have sworn that I'd already used a 5V pad on this VTX. Maybe I just used VBAT. Yeah, cool. Interesting. I like putting the cameras on 5V. They will take battery voltage, these guys. We've got Fox here's got quite a big voltage range. I think it's the most recent cameras go between 5 and 40. 5 and 40 volts. So they can run 6S, 7S, 8S, 10S? No, 8S I'd say. 10S is like 50 volts. Alright, turn that off. So ground, video, and so. Let me get my goggles. There you go. Me goggles, me old goggles. And need to find where my stand is. I've lost my little stand for the soldering iron. Ground 5 volts. When you plug a VTX in for testing purposes, just make sure there's an antenna plugged in. As you know, you'll burn it out if you don't. And nothing. That's interesting. Could have sworn this VTX was fine. One moment, please. Hello to the latest person that just arrived. I can see you in the count, but hit us up in the chat. Tell us who you are. I'll be right back. Just have to get my multimeter. Volts on the battery. Wow. 0.8 volts. What the fuck? Could have sworn this was a good VTX. Doesn't smell like smoke. Unplug the camera. Ah. Told you it was a good VTX. Do I have a fucked camera? R5, yeah. Five-volt ground video. 5-volt ground video. Wow. Oh yeah. It's a bad camera. Oh. It's not a bad camera. Who would have believed? Damn. Now this is where shit can catch you out pretty quickly. This is amazing. I can hear the ping of me tagging you in posts on the groups. Yeah. Well, don't tag Mindman TV. The channel, tag the channel. But yeah, look what happened. Let me focus the camera. Where's my camera focusing focuser? Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. Where's the camera focusing focuser? Logitech gaming software. There you go. Let me show you what just happened. Maybe it happened earlier. I'm gonna have to take this camera apart now. Deny. Camera number 2. Advanced. Control. Focus. you see it? Let's go in a bit closer. Can you see it? So this must have happened earlier when I was taking the VTX out of where it was. I was cleaning my soldering iron, and somehow, out of all of the places, I'm pretty sure this happened now. Must have happened early, just now. Out of all of the places where the solder could go, look at it. It went right into those pins. So onto the voltage sensor, ground and the OSD pin all together, and the little blob inside. Jesus Christ. How unlucky can one person get? How unlucky can one person get? So I'm gonna use my, this was a gift. I changed my mobile phone screen today, and the mobile phone screen, which cost like £20, actually came with this very interesting looking miniature screwdriver. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any hex. It's only got Phillips and T and straight, whatever. Good for mobile phones. I'll keep it around. Let me refocus. There you go. So right, I'm going to take this, let me turn this off. So I told you I'd be fixing things today. Now you get to see the innards of an FPV camera. Great, and hopefully I'll get that solder out of there. Fucking hell. Just the luck, eh? Look, it went inside there and everything. Jesus Christ. Well, looks pretty good. Tweezies. It's like a bloodbath. Dude. Me focus you in. It's going to be tricky to keep you in focus, but I'll try. That is a giant blob. There you go. That part was easy. Hey! Wow. That was crazy. Never ever in my life would I have thought that happened. Ha! Wow. Clean as a whistle. I just got to clean that lens there, which I've unfortunately put my finger on. Shit. Let me pop it back. Hope that was all clear. Do not clean your sensors with your jumper. Clean them with your jeans instead. Nice. That is clean. Now, the only way is up, baby. It's quite cool that this Fox here, they've learnt a little bit. Now, I've heard recently that Fox here may be struggling financially, which is kind of weird because, I mean, either A, they've depleted all of their funds by launching a shit ton of products, or B, they've just gone completely over budget, and because this is the first camera I've seen with the aluminium everything and rubber bumpers for the board, so the board stays in place without moving around, unlike other cameras on the market that move around inside the casing. The boards move around inside the casing and cause all sorts of jello and vibrations in the image. And it's even got a heatsink. That's kind of cool. Got a little heatsink pad that aligns with the video chip, with the HDR video chip, and keeps it cool. Everything's aluminium. So pretty amazing. Hopefully this will work, and I haven't killed the camera. It would be fucking gutting if I had killed the camera. Where's my cable? Let's try that again. The size of the blob that came out of there. And focus. Moment of truth, everybody. Hallelujah. Huh. What the hell is it focusing on? Focusing on me. It's pretty good, but I'm getting some glare from whatever is scratched inside. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna focus, try and get this to do its thing. Yeah. Let's go to focus on black. Let me put that. Shit. Oh, damn it. Don't know if you can see how much shit is in that lens. You can't tell. Oh, there you go. See the stuff moving around? See the lines? All the scratches? That is inside the back of the lens. It's not very clear for you. It's pretty hard to see. A trusty Q-tip. What that does is, even though it's out of focus because you're focusing on the front, on the outside, all those scratches in there, or whatever's in there, will cause light to reflect off it and glare everything up. I might be able to later take the front glass off this one and put the front glass of this one on. The second glass in there is cracked, and the third glass in the back is cracked on that one. Might be able to get it apart for you in a second. I'll try in a minute. Just quickly put this one back on. Go ahead. RJC, I can hear the ping yet. Solder between pins, yep. Random, yeah, it didn't fry. Hello, Mr. Potato Man. How you doing? The infamous potato has arrived. I hope you are well. Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, it's still. Is it? Haha. Check it out. Let's see how a fingerprint sensor works. So I've got focused on the front of the lens, and I can focus my fingerprint ridges. That's sick. Who would have believed? Yeah, all those scratches are actually on the front of the lens, not on the rear. So right now I'm focusing on the front of the lens. It's just scratches, man. Jesus. Right, let's just focus in. And there's the focus point. Now, when you're focusing these cameras, what I'd like to do is, when I'm twisting it, I will always put pressure. You should really put pressure outwards, because there's a gap between the threads. I don't know if you can see it, but just pulling the lens through the play in the threads, you know, so there's a little bit of play there, maybe about 0.5 millimeter. That 0.5 millimeter, since the focal length is so small, this is a 1.8 millimeter focal length. What that means is the rear of the lens is sitting 1.8 millimeters away from the sensor. Yeah? Since that gap is, the focus range is so small, just that gap is enough to pull it out of focus. So when you're focusing, always hold it by the lens, let the weight of the camera pull it down, focus it into where it's focused, and then tighten your focus ring. The lock ring. The lock ring will do is push the lens outward. So that way you can precisely focus it and not run the risk of it coming out of focus when you tighten the focus ring. So there you go. That is now in focus. I'm going to unplug this to avoid heat build-up. And grab my tweezers. Now, you see, this is the problem with the aluminium rings. Since everything's aluminium, you really have to tighten it hard to get it to lock in focus. Yeah, it's still not locked, you see. It's just virtually impossible to lock these aluminium lock rings without a pair of fucking pliers, which I have right here. So camera's fixed. That can go into my main Superfly rig, because my my micro camera that's in there has reached the end of its life. So, successful VTX test, successful camera and lens replacement. Now I can desolder the cables off this and move on to testing the next thing. I'm going to turn the gogglies off, put them away, move that LiPo over here. Turn my soldering iron back on. Move my multimeter out of the way. Hello, hello. Yeah, lucky it didn't fry that camera with that. I think it just goes to show how a little bit of, lack of attention what you're doing. I somehow managed to knock liquid solder into there during whatever I was doing over here. Yeah, normally what happens is I clean my soldering iron by tapping it against the solder stand. So, I'll be soldering away, and if there's too much solder on there, I'll tap it, and you can see blobs of solder there. That must have flung solder straight through the camera and into the thing. Insane. Insane, my brother. Insane. Jesus. Lucky. Very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. It's the same thing when you're working on the boards. Solder can splatter around, and I tend to you see there's a little solder splat. You won't be able to see it. I'm not going to focus just for this. But there's a solder splat right next to one of the signals. It's so easy to do. But what I like to do when I'm done with the soldering, I grab my little toothbrush, and I use quite a bit of force to wipe away any potential solder splatter rubies that have gone in there. And I sometimes I'll dip this in alcohol, in isopropyl alcohol. So this is the one I use. This is from Amazon. It's about £7 per liter. Yeah, this stuff will last. This bottle will last you about a year and a half. I need to get some more soon. So now I'm going to remove my XT60. I'm going to need to give it a bit of incentive. Add molten solder to trigger the heat. And always, there's another trick here, always start, you see all the solder splattering everywhere? Always start with a positive lead, and that will allow some heat buildup to go through the board, and will heat the board up in preparation for the negative lead, which is always harder to come off because you've got 4 ounces of copper in these boards, so it'll always take a bit longer for the board to heat up when you're doing the negative pads. As you can see, my soldering iron running off LiPo is struggling a little bit. It'll get there. I'll give it some incentive by adding some more molten solder. And easily comes off. And then wipe off all the gunk that is around there. Like, look at this. Remove the solder buildup by using rapid movements. So you can literally pull the solder off by using rapid movements. And then we'll spray it everywhere. There you go. That's pretty toasty now. So just double check that I haven't created any more short circuits. I like removing most of the old solder because it's all oxidized, and you don't like oxidized stuff. It'll just make your life absolutely miserable, mate. And I've used a lot of flux on this board. It's really sticky. I have a flux paste that I use some on new boards. Let's clear off all this spatter. testing stuff, but let's follow protocol and re-tin these wires. Keep the tip clean, she said. What's happening in the chat? Nothing. Only 4 of you, nothing in the chat, you silent fucks. That wasn't a really good idea. Just melted loads of shit into my XT60. Yeah, there's loads of plastic in there now. Ugh, stinks. Hope my fire alarm doesn't go off. So, first things first before we forget. That's the good pile. Put the antenna on so we don't forget. Just quickly tin these pads. Of course, when I put this into a quad, I'm going to use a capacitor. Right now, I'm just testing stuff, so no need. Oh, I used a lot of flux on this last time. Boom. Temporarily perfect. That's a bit of a cold one, but for testing purposes, it's fine. Hello, Stephen. Thank you for sending my stuff on Monday. There's no rush. Like I said, just, second class, cheapest as cheap. It's going to be a while until that one is built. Like I said, it was mainly for spares. You need to have spares around. This year is the year of the Superfly in the floaty FPV camp. I have given up every other quad and I'm exclusively flying Superfly right now. Hint, hint. Yeah. Nah, Stephen, great stuff, man. Your stuff flies fucking great. There's no point getting anything else. There's no fucking point. People just don't understand. There's no point in spending 100 quid on a drone from America, waiting a fuck ton of time for it to arrive, and fucking postage and all this bollocks. When for 50 quid, you can get a fucking sick frame from Superfly. Man, it's like no brainer. But hey, long live Banggood, huh? That's another place that pisses me off. I haven't used them for over a year. Whatever. Moving on. Moving on, let's test this second VTX. Grab the... This one has never had a camera plugged into it. That's interesting. This one's never had 5 volts or a camera. What the fuck? Did it die too soon? I have a feeling this one's dead. Something's telling me this one's dead. Yeah, let's check it before we put the camera on. Why is no point soldering the camera if it's dead? Where's my lipo? Jesus Christ. Oh, there you are. Never put you there. What fucking Jesus. Yeah. Just as I suspected. I wish I knew more about the like proper innards of the electronics to like trace where the fault is. Oh, it's hot. Yeah, it's sort of warming up, but not getting instantly hot. Yeah, I can see I've replaced this. Maybe, could this diode be backwards? Oof, can't see. That's macro. It's gonna be tricky. I'm trying to see what way the letters are going. But I've got no light. Aha. So 71p. That's completely different. Wow. That is really interesting. Well, the letters are pointing the same way, so I'm going to assume it's in the same place. What does it measure? Let me turn this off before I burn myself. What do they measure? There's not much I can measure with these. There's a diode tester here. I don't know how it works though. It's a bit all over the place. It's 5 megaohms. Milliohms. Milliohms. What the hell? Gives it a different reading every time. Alright, let's say 3. Ah. .9. 136 kiloohms. Take the antenna off this one, see if it makes a difference. Oh, shit, you're out of focus. Sorry. That sucked. Sick, might get one to try out, to be honest. Usually fly the Archon. Today the Superfly's better. I've never flown an Archon. I mean, I've been flying the Superfly for, well, almost 2 years now, Stephen. I think, can you check your records when I bought the first one? Can you check your records and tell me how many I've actually bought? I would like to know. I can't remember. Is it 5, 6, 7, 8? That's the thing, you see. It is a wicked frame. It flies fucking fantastic because Stephen did all the testing that he did and the refinements that he did. So it flies really, really good. But there's no, like, indestructible frame. I have bought a fuck ton of frames of Mr. Stephen. He's riding around in a fucking Maserati because of me. But it's the fact that it flies great. Yeah, the frames will break. I can't like say, oh, it's the strongest frame. No, it's not the strongest frame. It's the frame out of all of the ones that I've flown that flies the best straight out of the box because of all of the fucking refinements that have been put into it. All that time that Steven has spent on the bench, doing all of his testing, all the time that he has spent out in the field, making the tune for the frame. That's what counts to me. That's what pays it. That's what makes it great. It's the same thing with the premium brands. If they go out and they do their testing like Armatan claim they do, they go out and do all their testing all the time and put the hours, the man hours, hundreds and thousands of pounds of man hours into the development of the frame. They end up deserving the money, you know? Yeah. It's like anybody fucking can design a little frame, chuck it together, get it cut out of carbon, and sell it for 50 quid, not knowing whether or not it flies or not. You know, that's what happens at Banggood when all these clones come out. They're not really clones, they're just copies of 1.0. This is a pointless exercise. It's fucked. It's fucked. I don't have the expertise to fix it. Now this has gone open loop. 16. That pretty much open loop on there. Okay, 17. Yeah, so these two are reading the same thing. But they're two different chips. That's the one I just worked on. That's one I haven't tested yet. And this one's got a tick mark on it. It's allegedly supposed to say good. But it's fucked. Now it says open loop. 14. Yeah. Pointless exercise. Moving on. Oh, just 3 of you. Alright. Put the antenna back on. Just give it one more plug in just for fucks. Yeah, that's dead. Marked it dead. Dead January 20. And let's put a little cross through this tick. Whatever. Let's desolder it and move on to the next one. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Desolder this one, move on to the next one. 1 hour already. Wow. Time flies. What's that new build you talked about in the description? The new build in the description. There's another Superfly. Superfly V3. I haven't even built my my first Superfly. Well, I'm running the Superfly V1 and the Superfly V2. My Superfly V3 is half built. I need to buy a 4-in-1 ESC to finish it, and then the that's the new build, essentially. And the new frame that's coming next week will sit around for spares or until I seriously break something on one of the other builds. I'll then use that frame if it's still complete. The differences between the three frames are subtle. The V3 is much stronger because it's got the thicker camera cage, and it's got some little design tweaks that make it a little bit more resilient, especially around the front arms. But they essentially all fly the same. I think this one's dead as well. I think this one's missing the regulator. Yeah. This one exploded the input regulator, which is a tiny little component. Let me zoom, focus you in. I don't think it's an input regulator, it's a voltage subdivider. Focus. Alright. Just there. There is supposed to be that black component. And that exploded because there is a 3.3 volt short inside the board. And this is a common problem with the Maytech, which is why I always carry spares. There is a 3.3 volt somewhere. No, it's on the 5 volt on these, not on this one. It's a common problem on these. You will get a dead short on the thing on the 5 volt rail. Yeah. Internally. This focus here in again. These Maytech, and this happens not only on the VTXs, it can also happen on the flight controllers. What happened to this one on its maiden voyage in Portugal on the Chameleon, I belly flopped it. So I basically came out of a loop a bit too low, and I hit the ground flat on. And twice in a row that happened. With two different quads, two different boards, and the exact same thing happened. There's something inside them that if the board flexes or bends, it causes a dead short on the 5 volts immediately. And Maytech know that's a problem. They absolutely know that is a problem, and they replaced both of them, no questions asked. So these two are both dead. They both died differently, but yeah. Dead. That goes into the recycling pile. Next up, I need a PDB. I've got one that's completely built over there, but PDB. And let's retin these. So now I'm going to test the VTX HV. So let's just quickly solder up the PDB. Let's grab me 2 pieces of wire. No more questions? 3 of you only? Come on. Where's everyone? Interesting. This should be warm enough. Yeah, just quickly solder this on here. This is a Maytech PDB XT60. It does 12 volts and 5 volts. And it's running 3-ounce copper. This is old school. Nobody really uses these anymore with the all-in-one flight controllers. A lot of flight controllers can take battery voltage now, so they're kind of pointless. Why is this off? You're running out of battery, buddy. La 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 la. Hey! Let's get some more people in here. That one. I need some black wire for the for the ground. La 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 la. Jesus Christ. VTX HV. Ground wire. Use this one for the video signal. Battery's dead. I knew it was dead. Let me grab another lipo. Let me grab another lipo. Alert. kidding me? You failing inside the plug? Hopefully. Huh. For a minute there I was thinking my soldering iron was dying. So video ground, and this one's 7 to 27 volts. This can go straight to battery. Awesome. Cool. Now let's grab that. Pop it onto the 12 volt rail of the PDB. Good thing about the older stuff is it's they've got gigantic pads. Everything's nicely spaced apart. You don't have to worry about accidentally shorting something out. It's amazing, like in the last, how quickly in the last like 2 years, how quickly stuff evolved. It's amazing. Put the camera in to 5 volts and ground. Testing stuff is boring, as you can see. I mean, I don't know if I can give it justice by making it entertaining or not. But sometimes we gotta test the stuffs. There you go. So we got the video connected. Hopefully this one is fine. There's the antenna. Very important. Always connect the antenna. If you do it enough, it'll become second nature. Check for shorts. No shorts there. No shorts here. Connect the pin. All the pins are in the correct place. Perfect. Goggles. Goggles. Camera. Lipo. 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, that's interesting. I have a partial something. But no lights. You see that? So we have a partially failed VTX. That is interesting. Could it just be the logic that's dead? Let me do a scan, see if there. Perfect video signal on A1, but no logic. Wonder if reflashing it would work. The plot thickens. So see if the 5-volt output regulator works on it. That'd be interesting. How am I going to do this without potentially killing everything else around it? I need to move that like that. Put my finger on it. Five-volt regulator is working. That is rather interesting indeed. So I've got full signal. Got a good signal in the VTX, but absolutely no logic. Through the software side. No lights. And it's getting hot. So I know it's on like 200 milliwatts. Can't change channel. It'd be interesting to see if smart audio worked. Yeah, now it's starting to fail because it's too hot. That is really interesting. Never had that before. See if it turns back onto the same channel. Yeah. Channel A1. Let's see if it's anywhere else. Normally when this VTX start to fail, they may like broadcast on loads of other channels as well. So B8 is there too. E6 is on a side channel. F7. But I'm not seeing it like blasting every single channel like sometimes it will do. R7, yeah, that looks funky, and A1. So yeah, so 3 of the similar channels, similar frequencies. The question is, can you trust it? I think this is a good candidate for the Phantom Sleeper. I think I will use it in the Phantom Sleeper when I do come around to doing its thing. Great stuff. Okay. So tested all those things. You're welcome, our Ridvan. You're welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Your support is appreciated. So that one's tested. I'll use it for the Phantom Sleeper. There's going to be a video about that coming out, about the Phantom Sleeper. It's basically a Phantom 3 Pro, but with the innards of a racing quad, using the original Phantom motors and running off 4S. So I don't expect it to last very long, and we're going to be doing some nice shenanigans with it in a video soon. So that's a great VTX for that experiment. Lovely. So interesting. No logic. I need to mark it somehow. I'll just mark it on the back of the... Very, very interesting. So the VTX module is perfect, but the software logic is dead. Would be interesting to find out if I could flash it again. I don't want to do that right now, because that would take way too much time setting up the board for flash. I do have it here, but it's not mounted. No, I'm gonna have to do that some other time. But interesting nonetheless. Done. No logic on A1. Cool. So out of that, two VTXs are okay. What else can I test? Everything else is fine. Out of here, this RX's camera sorted. And what, we're an hour and a half in, and we've got one other person, which is probably my friend Walter, or maybe some computer bot. I think I'm going to call it there. I'm feeling tired. We'll carry on with a further live stream during the week with some other shenanigans and preparing the other quad. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you next time.